It's 6 weeks already since we started the conversation on Kingdom Man. If you recall, when we started this conversation, we started from understanding what the concept of Kingdom Man is in itself, and we also looked at the authority of a Kingdom Man, that beyond the concept, that for you to be a Kingdom Man, there's an authority that heaven has released for you to operate in that status as a Kingdom Man. And how do you acquire this authority? And we said after acquiring, it doesn't just stop there. There's a need to maintain the authority. We had a conversation on how to maintain the authority. So after talking about that, we went ahead to look at what are some of the key rules. Now that you have known that you're a Kingdom Man, how do you operate in your family? Then how do you operate in the church? And if you haven't listened to the past 5 episodes, I will encourage you to go. And if you miss any episode, please go back and listen to them. And so today, as we wrap up 6 weeks into this conversation, we'll discuss how should a Kingdom Man live in his community. And so I'll be reading some part of Dr. Tony Evans' comment in the book Kingdom Man. It was the last chapter of it. If we go to chapter 15 of the book, he really shared how a Kingdom Man should live in the community. And so if you can see that we see a lot of examples where men failed to live as Kingdom Men in their community, and it affected them and their family. And so we remember that Lot's failure, I'm reading from the book, to live as a Kingdom Man in an already downtrodden community led to the downfall of his family and added to the demise of everyone else. If Abraham could have found just 10 people, remember the story. For those of us that are familiar with the biblical story, if you're not, please go to Genesis and read it. It's a very good story to get yourself familiar with. When God was negotiating with Abraham, if you go to Genesis 18 and read, it was negotiating with Abraham on how not to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham was negotiating if God can save, and God was requesting that if he can just save even just 10 people, the city will be saved. And so if Abraham could have found just 10 men who lived there, the cities would have been saved. Imagine just 10 men that were living as Kingdom Men, that city would have been saved. And so the question that I want to ask, not reading from the book, but my own question to you, the listener, is this: is that maybe you're just the magic number that God needs to save your family. Maybe you're just the magic number that God needs to save your street. Maybe you're just the magic number that God needs to save the whole of your village. And so the question is that what number do God need to save your people? And how do you want to mobilize other men to join you now in this work? But God couldn't find those men. So what's worse, Abraham could not find, and God himself could not find. And so back to reading from the book, he said, a country will know when men are being Kingdom Men in their homes and in the church. As we have seen, Psalm 128 begins with the foundation of the personal life, moves to the family, then goes to the church, and conclude with the community and the nation. So remember Psalm 128 that we're reading as a mantra of Kingdom Men. It lays this clear foundation, and so it finishes in verse 5 and 6 of Psalm 128. It says this, and it said, and may you see the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life. Indeed, may you see your children, peace upon Israel. So we can see that it was talking about Jerusalem, and when we talk about Jerusalem, we are not just talking about the physical Jerusalem in the Middle East, but we're talking about the Jerusalem which is your own community, where you live. It could be your village, it could be your town, it could be where you grew up, it could be where you are living now as your community, the environment, the neighborhood, and that's your community that I was talking about. He said, once you do it, that you will prosper in that community. So maybe you're not prospering in your location. The question might be for you to ask, am I a Kingdom Man in this location? So unless we address the main problem in our own country, we will not survive. No government program or initiative will work to save our culture and our nation if men will not rise up to become Kingdom Men, first in their own lives, in their homes, in their churches, and in their community. No amount of money will fix the problem that we are facing as a nation. Yes, even as a world, as a global community, no amount of money will fix it except men arise, except men come to begin to operate as Kingdom Men. No, here even on the continent of Africa, no matter the international foreign aid that we receive and all of that, it can't fix our problem except men arise to begin to live as kingdom men. And definitely no amount of legislation will fix what is ultimately a spiritual problem of men being out of alignment with the Lord God. And you see what is happening now, that a lot of situations that people are just pumping money to it. People think, oh, maybe if we have more law, more policy. Yeah, I'm a student of policy. I'm a student of partnership between the community and the government to solve problems. Yes, I believe in all of that. I studied in school. I work in the space, but I know that will not solve all of our problems unless we as men arise. That will not solve all of the lot of issues we are having. Teenagers, young people, young adults beginning to go into the diabolic, beginning to do evil things, getting involved, hook on drugs and all of that. Legislation will not fix that unless we begin to live as kingdom men. Go back to everything we talked about, protecting your territory. Protecting your territory means by living by example, ensuring that there's equity, ensuring that the basic welfare is available to the people. And so now protecting your own family, showing that example, and that is how we can fix the problem. And so you may ask, okay, what should I do? And so the call will be that men, please get involved, get connected. You need to serve. You need to lead as mentors. You need to pray. You need to teach. You need to train. So, it's either you are serving, even I use the term service in all of what I'm going to challenge us to begin to do, but you need to serve. Are you serving in the youth center? Are you serving somewhere helping? You need to lead by example. Let all young men that are your friends see you. Even when you're no longer in the same space, they'll remember you, that you really contributed to their life. Be a mentor. Who are you mentoring? Then pray, teach, then train. Train the next generation of young men. Train people. It's time that we need to come out and begin to mentor young men. And yes, we talk about the issue of gender. We've had conversation around gender-based violence and gender-based issues some couple of weeks back. But again, as we're doing that, as we're raising voices to support the cause of women, we should not leave out the boys. We must begin to train the boys, because if we correct all of the gender issues that we have in community and we leave out boys, then we'll repeat the same process. Then it will be as we're just catching the fish and we're throwing them back in the river, or we're fishing water with a basket. It's going to leak all the way. So we need to take that serious. So you need to discover how God has gifted you and how those gifts can benefit the church and your community. That those gifts can benefit your family. Are you great at fixing cars? Then maybe you consider starting a workshop where you train disadvantaged youth through fixing cars. You might not be your professional work, but you do it. Maybe you acquire a space, an empty space, and every weekend these boys come to you to learn how to fix car. They need to get work and they need to get off the street, and that's what we need to know. We must be ready to know that we need to get these boys off the street. These boys will become the men of tomorrow. We need to get them off the street. We need to get them off drugs, but we need to do something. So do you have a background in law? Then you can start or participate in the ministry within your church or your community that moderates dispute among, using biblical principles to reconcile family. Sometimes we have a lot of divorce cases they are not supposed to go through. If we can have alternative dispute resolution, so you can use your law degree to support your church, your community. Start something. Don't say, we have an example. I'm going to give you an example of my country, Nigeria. Talk about, we have a lot of law students that I see. They're not doing anything. They're waiting to maybe work for a big corporate clientele, work for government, work for all of this. And so you can make use of those law degrees, start a non-profit that begins to help to improve access to resources for young people, access to resources for young men in the community and women. That could be what God is calling you to do. So use what you have. Do you know how to your ways in and out computers? Teach them. Reach out to them, to teenagers during the weekend, in your church, in your community, in your neighborhood. Teach them IT. The future is IT. Teach them how to code. Teach them how to use computers in the right way, not going to become internet fraudster. No, teach them that they can use this computer to do something that is good. And so whatever you know that you can do that. If you're a businessman, you're successful at what you do, begin to share, begin to mentor the next generation on how to become great business people. So those are things you can do. What are these? Just mentor them. Mentor those adults in your community. Bring them to church. So, by doing this, you align them to begin to express even by doing this, you're making them to begin to express even their own way of serving God, and they begin to, the enemy cannot just deceive them or take them away. So you allow them to walk in your shadow, to learn from you. And the possibilities are endless. There are a lot of things you can do in your community, and the outcome is priceless. Instead of just having communities that a lot of young people are doing this, so we need to help. So in fact, we need to know that each man must play our own part. Once we play our own part, then we can win this battle. I know what is funny is that everybody's going public now. Everybody's coming out with a lot of atrocity. People are coming to declare, I am that to declare they are that. They call it coming out day, to declare their sexual status, to declare a lot of stupid and demonic things. They are coming out. So if people are coming out, then it is time for us as kingdom men to also break out of our huddle and go public. We also need to go public with the good that God wants. So there's no need to be shy. Men must begin to play more role in the community. Most times you see it is women association from the church that go to the community to serve. It is women association or youth that you see. But the men, most times you find out what are they doing? They think it's all about just bringing money, donating money in the church, and that's all. Yes, donating money is very important, but men must go beyond just donating money in church. It's time to become fathers of the community. It is time to become fathers of the neighborhood. Start from our knees, from prayers, and the Lord will lead us what to do. So I hope you've been able to learn one or two things from this book, The Kingdom Man. I would really encourage you to get yourself a copy of this book, The Kingdom Man by Pastor Tony Evans. It's a very good book that you need to have. Remember, we talked about that we should have a game plan that starts with our personal life, seeking to know God, seeking to also better our lives in terms of our health, in terms of carrying out, growing our own skills, that we too will be successful people that young people can point to in our community. We also talk about how do we live in our family, be an example, using our dinner tables, to nurture our children. Let there be time to relate, to have conversation, teach them value, explain things to them. Let there be family meetings, the important things to do. Then in the church, we say yes, you can organize events. Let your family be a leading one in church. Serve in the church. Let your family be part of those people that are active in church. Then we said in the community, do something, adopt something. You could either go, I see what people do sometimes. There's a non-profit I know that do like what we call school tours, and they bring professionals to go and talk to these young kids in school. You can sign up as a father, you can sign up as a believer on such things. Serve, and serve. May God bless us. I hope that you'll be able to keep your territory, that the enemy will not steal your territory. Remember, there's no idleness here. The enemy is watching, is looking around to devour. So you make up your mind today that you are going to be a kingdom man. You're going to protect your family, you're going to protect your church, you're going to protect your community, and then at long last, you're going to protect your nation. May God bless us, and hopefully next week, like we said, we talked about the issue of manhood in part of the conversation in this book, that God is calling us as we need to grow away from boys to become man. And so we're going to be using the book of a different author, Broglia Connie, to talk about the dignity of manhood. So we're going to also have another 6-part series beginning from next week, discussing what is the dignity of manhood. So on the 18th of February, we'll talk about how we're created to bear authority. 25th of February, we'll talk about how should we even play the man role. Then after that, we'll go in March, we'll start talking about how to be a real husband. Then we'll go to being a real husband, we'll talk how to be a real father. Then we'll now talk about how to be a man at the gate. And so that's going to be the 5 parts that we're going to talk. So it's going to be a 5-part series. But if there's more things to discuss, we might move it into a 6-part series. I hope the Lord will help us. Remember the mantra of Kingdom Man, Psalm 128. Let it be with you. Meditate on it day and night until you see everything in that psalm coming to pass in your life and in your family. May God bless us all, and may He help us to indeed become the kingdom men that He has created us for. Bye-bye, and God bless you.